Hello, and welcome. In this video, we'll explore the concept of Rasi in Vedic astrology. 1. What is Rasi? In Vedic astrology, Rasi means zodiac sign. It refers to the 12 30-degree divisions of the sky, along the ecliptic path of the sun. These 12 Rasis, from Aries to Pisces, have the same names as Western zodiac signs, but the reference point and calculation method are different. 2. Difference from Western astrology. Western astrology uses the tropical zodiac, which starts from the vernal equinox 0 Aries. Vedic astrology uses the sidereal zodiac, which aligns with the actual constellations. There is a shift of about 2,000 years between the two systems. So even if two people are born on the same day, their sign may differ depending on the system used. Vedic astrology focuses more on timing and the flow of events. 3. The role of Rasi in astrology. Rasis are more than just signs. They represent deep psychological patterns and directional tendencies in life. Each Rasi expresses a unique energy, personality traits, emotional responses, and core priorities. For example, Aries tends to be direct and action-oriented, while Virgo is analytical and careful. Each Rasi is defined by a combination of element, modality, gender, and ruling planet. Together, these traits form the core nature of each sign. 4. The 4 elements. The 12 Rasis are divided into 4 elements: fire, earth, air, and water. These reflect the basic energy makeup of the signs. Fire Agni Aries, Leo, Sagittarius. Represents passion, drive, creativity, and self-expression. Fire signs are bold, active, and idealistic, often driven by strong vision and will. But they may also be impulsive or impatient. Earth Prithvi Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn. Represents stability, practicality, and material focus. Earth signs value structure, planning, and tangible results. They prefer logic over emotion, but may be rigid or overly cautious. Air Vayu Gemini, Libra, Aquarius. Represents thought, communication, and intellectual exchange. Air signs are curious, social, and idea-driven, while open-minded and logical. They can sometimes seem scattered or emotionally distant. Water Jala Cancer, Scorpio, Pisces. Represents emotion, intuition, and empathy. Water signs are sensitive, artistic, and deeply connected to feelings and relationships. But they may struggle with emotional highs and lows or be easily hurt. 5. The 3 modalities movement types. Each Rasi also has a movement type, which reflects how the sign approaches action and change. Cardinal movable Aries, Cancer, Libra, Capricorn. They initiate. These signs love new beginnings and taking charge. They plan and lead, but may struggle with follow-through. Fixed Taurus, Leo, Scorpio, Aquarius. These signs resist change and stay focused. They're reliable and determined, but can be inflexible. Mutable dual Gemini, Virgo, Sagittarius, Pisces. Adaptable and curious, they go with the flow. They respond well to change but may seem indecisive or scattered. 6. Gender of signs. In Vedic astrology, Rasis are also classified as masculine, positive or feminine negative. Masculine signs Aries, Gemini, Leo, Libra, Sagittarius, Aquarius. These signs are active, expressive, and outward-focused. They emphasize initiative, independence, and assertiveness. Feminine signs Taurus, Cancer, Virgo, Scorpio, Capricorn, Pisces. These signs are inward, receptive, and emotionally attuned. They tend to be intuitive, gentle, and thoughtful in their responses. 7. Ruling planets. Each Rasi is ruled by a specific graha planet, which shapes the sign's core qualities. Sun Surya rules Leo, associated with confidence, authority, and pride. Moon Chandra rules Cancer, connected to emotion, nurturing, and inner stability. Mercury Buddha rules Gemini and Virgo, governs intellect, analysis, and communication. Venus Shukra rules Taurus and Libra, linked to love, beauty, harmony, and pleasure. Mars Mangala rules Aries and Scorpio, represents action, courage, and assertiveness. Jupiter Guru rules Sagittarius and Pisces, signifies wisdom, belief, and growth. Saturn Shani rules Capricorn and Aquarius, connected to discipline, patience, and structure. Rasis are foundational in Vedic astrology. Each sign expresses unique energy, shaped by element, modality, gender, and ruler. They guide your personality, direction, and karmic imprint. Aries, the first step of the universe. Aries. As a new season begins, the cosmos takes its first breath through Aries. This sign represents all beginnings, an energy that moves forward without hesitation. It is the raw, instinctive declaration of humanity. I will begin. Aries is a fire sign. Fire moves, burns, and transforms. Among the fire signs, Aries is the spark, the ignition. It starts the flame. Its actions are fast, thoughts brief, passion unfiltered. But this flame doesn't last long. Aries must constantly search for new fuel to keep burning. Aries is a cardinal sign. It initiates. It gets stagnant energy moving again. It doesn't wait. It speaks first, acts first. It leads and pioneers. It may not analyze a situation for long, but no one moves faster. Aries is a masculine sign. Its energy flows outward. It aims to prove itself. It acts before it feels, chooses confrontation over compromise. This gives courage but can sometimes appear reckless. Aries is ruled by Mars, the planet of drive, conflict, and survival. And Aries fully embodies Mars. When it sets a goal, it charges. It doesn't fear conflict, but it can struggle with emotional control. Aries is the first sign of the zodiac. It carries the symbol of beginnings, birth, initiation, and action. Everything starts with Aries. It acts faster than it thinks. It values execution over contemplation. They trust instinct over planning, and desire over logic. If they want something, they go for it. It is their instinct to leap, not to pause. They ask not, why should I? But why not? They choose acceleration over caution, risk over safety. And while this nature invites danger at times, those who open new doors are almost always Aries. Aries sees challenge before fear. Once a goal is set, process, methods, and other people's emotions are secondary. What matters most? Speed and outcome. But Aries can be emotionally raw or impatient. If angry, they explode. If disappointed, they walk away without looking back. They may be seen as selfish or confrontational in relationships. Yet they are honest. They hold no grudges. They don't hide feelings. They are blunt but pure. Rough but sincere. This straightforward energy shows up in leaders, crisis solvers, and startup founders. In love, they move fast. When they like someone, they express it boldly. They approach. They show their charm. They confess quickly. They're physically forward, but they may lack emotional sensitivity. Their love burns hot but can cool just as fast. Their existence itself is a challenge. A flame that ignites a weary world. A soul that walks where no one else has dared. They don't fear failure. They burn to prove themselves. That is Aries. Keywords: initiation, breakthrough, courage, impulse, independence, leadership, anger, competitiveness, spontaneity. Strengths: strong drive, fast execution and action, courage and leadership, decisiveness in crisis. Weaknesses: impulsiveness and anger, lack of patience, low tolerance for others' needs, poor emotional regulation. Aries declares, I move first. Someone must begin and I am the spark. Taurus, the unshakable earth. Taurus, after the chaos of beginnings, the world craves stability. It's time for new life to take root. Taurus is that calm and solid ground. Slow but steady, gentle but enduring. Taurus walks in tune with the rhythm of life, quietly, but with purpose. Taurus is an earth sign. Earth represents stability, practicality, and continuity. Taurus, in particular, is the still earth, the unmoving ground that holds firm. Rather than chasing constant change, Taurus values what is familiar and grounded. It centers around practicality, consistency, and material security. Taurus is a fixed sign. Fixed signs preserve and sustain. Even if someone else initiates, it's Taurus who carries things through to completion. It doesn't move easily, but once it makes a decision, it sees it through to the end. Taurus may resist change, but no one endures like they do. Taurus is a feminine sign, receptive, introspective, and tuned into internal sensations more than external action. It feels more than it speaks. It responds more than it moves. Emotions flow quietly. Relationships deepen slowly. This creates warmth and comfort but may also seem stubborn or unyielding. Taurus is ruled by Venus, the planet of beauty, pleasure, love, and values. Venus softens life's edges. In Taurus, Venus is grounded in physical senses. Good food, music, fragrance, touch, and love. Taurus finds joy through sensory experience. But when pleasure becomes obsession, it can slip into laziness or materialism. Taurus is the second sign of the zodiac. If Aries is the spark that ignites the fire, Taurus is the log that keeps it burning slow and steady. Taurus doesn't rush. It doesn't overreact. They value endurance over immediacy. Taurus needs a strong foundation: food, money, home, relationships, and health. They find peace through tangible things. They don't chase abstract goals. They prefer what they can see, touch, and hold. Taurus rarely changes its mind. It trusts the familiar more than the unknown. That's why people say they're stubborn. But when they love for a long time. They're loyal, devoted, and responsible. Taurus has heightened senses. They notice beauty, scent, taste, and texture. Many Taurians express this sensitivity through art. They find joy in music, design, cooking, or gardening, where comfort and creativity meet. They don't speak much but their hearts run deep. In relationships, they don't rush. They open slowly, build trust slowly, and once they bond, they don't let go easily. In love or friendship, Taurus is constant. However, the deep craving for security can become a fear of change. They may try to control life, become attached to possessions, or fall into inertia. They also struggle with expressing emotions, which can make them seem closed off. Taurus is the sign of the art of moving slowly. In a fast-moving world, they remind us to pause and breathe. They are quiet but powerful, heavy but gentle. That is Taurus. Keywords: stability, endurance, slowness, sensation, possession, practicality, patience, stubbornness, beauty, pleasure, loyalty, realism. Strengths: reliable and grounded, patient and persistent, aesthetic sense and sensory enjoyment, practical and realistic thinking. Weaknesses: resistance to change, stubbornness and rigidity, attachment to material comfort, laziness and delayed response. Taurus whispers, I hold, I endure, I cherish this moment and I keep it close. Their life is not fast but it is firm. Their steps may be slow but they never shake. Gemini. The world is full of questions. This is Gemini. In the heart of spring, the world finds its balance. Life begins to speak, reaching out toward others. Gemini is born in this moment. Curiosity awakens. Thoughts take flight. The mind stretches outward to meet the world. Gemini is the one who keeps asking, who observes, learns, and connects. Gemini is an air sign. Air is invisible, but it's everywhere, fast-moving and free. Gemini's air is the movement of information. Words, ideas, and questions swirl constantly. There is a hunger to know, to speak, to connect. One thought leads to another, endlessly. Gemini is a mutable sign. It doesn't stay still. It shifts and redirects. Boredom is unbearable. Gemini explores every option. Adaptable, flexible, quick to change but more wide than deep. It prefers variety over depth, motion over stillness. Gemini is a masculine sign, active, outward-facing, and expressive. They speak boldly, ask questions, and share ideas without hesitation. Thoughts become words almost instantly. They don't wait passively. They connect through active communication. Gemini is ruled by Mercury, the planet of thought, speech, language, and learning. Mercury seeks to understand and transmit. Under Mercury's influence, Gemini becomes quick-witted, articulate, and curious. They absorb information fast and share it freely. But this speed often comes at the cost of focus or depth. Scattered energy, superficial knowledge, and restless minds are common. Gemini is the third sign of the zodiac. If Aries begins and Taurus grounds, Gemini starts to understand. Life moves beyond survival. It wants to think, interpret, and relate. Gemini observes and explains. It looks not just at what things are, but what they mean. What is that? Why did that happen? Dozens of questions arise every day. Gemini's most defining trait is curiosity. They are endlessly interested in the world. Boredom is their greatest enemy. So they're always learning, talking, writing, juggling multiple things at once. They speak well, write well, pick up on social cues quickly. They sense change before it happens and adapt with ease. In conversations, they read the room instantly and adjust their words to fit. Diversity and speed are survival tools for them. Instead of freezing in new situations, they find joy in navigating them. But sometimes they try to do too much and miss the depth. They have wide interests but struggle to focus long. Their emotions can shift just as fast. Though ruled by thought more than feeling, their quick words and actions can look emotional. In love, they approach fast, charm easily, and express themselves playfully. But deep emotional bonding takes time. They may seem inconsistent, but their hearts are often pure and transparent underneath. Gemini is the messenger of the zodiac, the one who keeps the world moving. They carry ideas from place to place, connect people through language, and scatter knowledge like wind. Because they don't stay fixed, they remain free. Because they have no set path, they can go anywhere. Keywords: curiosity, communication, movement, wit, flexibility, diversity, knowledge, connection, lightness, restlessness, superficiality, changeability, strengths, quick thinking and verbal agility, high adaptability, wide knowledge and diverse interests, playful, sharp, and socially intuitive. Weaknesses: scattered attention, lack of emotional depth, inconsistent behavior, more talk than action. Gemini whispers, "I want to know, and I want to tell. The world is too interesting and there's still so much to say." In their words, truth flows like wind and shines like light. Cancer, the sign that builds a home for the heart. This is Cancer. Summer begins. Under the warmth of the sun, life begins to grow. But growth in the outer world cannot be complete without the shadows of the inner world. Cancer embraces the emotions of the world, protects them, and quietly senses life from within its shell. This sign is a warm refuge, a home for the heart that shelters the wounds of the world. Cancer is a water sign. Water flows, seeps in, and holds emotion. Cancer's water is like a still lake, deep and calm, yet easily stirred by the world around it. This sensitivity connects people, offers care, and sometimes causes them to retreat inward. Cancer is a cardinal sign. But unlike Aries, its leadership shows through emotional presence and the creation of bonds. It builds families, preserves memories, and holds a deep instinct to protect. It moves through the world guided by the current of emotion. Cancer is a feminine sign. Soft, receptive, and focused inward rather than outward. It absorbs others' feelings and responds quietly. A sigh explains more than a speech. A tear says more than logic. This is the language of Cancer. Cancer is ruled by the moon. The moon symbolizes emotion, memory, and the unconscious. It constantly shifts, moving through light and shadow. Cancer lives by this rhythm. Sensitive and intuitive, yet gifted at reading hearts. Cancer is the fourth sign of the zodiac. While the signs before it step out, connect, and explore, Cancer begins to form its inner world. What matters is not how things appear but how they feel. The core desire is to protect and feel safe. They find meaning in caring for others, guarding them, and forming emotional bonds. Family, friends, pets, patients, students. Cancer lives through nurturing others. Their emotions run deep. They read moods without a word. They respond to the smallest gestures. But they rarely open up easily. Afraid of being hurt, they often wear a shell. First, protecting their heart from the inside. They remember everything, not just facts, but feelings. The smell of a place, a passing phrase, an old expression. They remember it all. This deep memory makes them prone to lingering in the past, deeply affected by what others say. They are often torn between dependence and independence. They want to be alone, then feel lonely. They offer affection, then retreat into defense. These waves of emotion may look confusing, but they are not chaotic. They are simply deep feelers. They care genuinely, bring warmth to any space, and speak in the language of emotion. But at times, they can be overly cautious, easily hurt, or lost in the sea of feeling. Cancer is home not just of the body, but of the soul. They become someone's emotional anchor. They guard their inner world fiercely, and the world breathes easier in the spaces they make warm. Keywords: emotion, protection, memory, Family, nurturing, empathy. Inner world, sensitivity, safety. Insecurity, passivity, overreaction. Strengths, deep empathy and emotional insight. Protective nature and nurturing instinct. Strong memory and loyalty. Warm, heartfelt relationships. Weaknesses, oversensitive to emotional wounds. Emotionally dependent and unstable. Attachment to the past and defensiveness. Easily withdrawn or overwhelmed. Cancer speaks softly. I feel. I protect. When you're hurting, I will be there. Their love may be quiet, but it lasts the longest. Within it you'll find the true meaning of home. Leo, the radiant center. Leo, it's midsummer. The sun stands highest in the sky, and life reaches its peak. The world is filled with powerful energy. In the heart of this brilliant season, Leo is born. A being of light, a sign that steps boldly into the center and shines. Leo says, I exist and I express. Leo is a fire sign. But unlike Aries, this fire is not impulsive or wild. It's steady, warm, lasting. It lights up others. It gathers people. It burns at the core. This fire symbolizes presence, vitality, and self-worth. Leo is a fixed sign. It holds steady and unwavering flame. Once Leo decides, it sticks with its path. It builds its own world and protects it with pride. Leadership and loyalty come from this constancy. Leo is a masculine sign. Its energy turns outward. It wants to be seen and heard, not one to hide in the shadows. Leo speaks with confidence and acts with boldness. Naturally drawn to the spotlight. It seeks recognition, appreciation, and influence. Leo is ruled by the sun. It is the only sign ruled by this great star. The sun is the source of life, the center of light. And Leo reflects it, fully radiating life force, confidence, creativity, and authority. Everything moves toward the center, and for Leo, that center is self-expression. Leo is the fifth sign of the zodiac. Where Cancer built a home for emotion, Leo builds a stage for expression. Among all signs, Leo has the strongest urge to perform, to create, and to be seen. They draw attention simply by being themselves through their tone, movement, eyes, or clothing. From childhood, there is a silent cry, "Look at me." And as adults, this becomes a longing to be respected, to be impactful. They expect a lot from themselves. Leo has strong self-esteem but is also deeply affected by lack of recognition. Praise lifts them. Dismissal cuts them deeply. But they rarely show their wounds. Like a king or queen, they hold their head high and never look back. Sometimes, pride hides pain. Leo is highly creative. They express through music, dance, writing, speaking, acting, or leadership. They're born to lead warmly, guiding others and uniting them toward a shared goal. With leadership comes responsibility. Leo believes, if I stand at the center, I carry the weight too. So they protect the vulnerable and fight for what's right. But when unbalanced, Leo can fall into vanity, stubbornness, or arrogance. They might insist their way is the only way. They might resist feedback. In such moments, it's important for Leo to examine whether their pride is masking an insecurity. Like the sun, Leo radiates warmth simply by existing. Their leadership is strongest when it uplifts others. To truly rule is not just to shine alone but to help others shine, too. That is the path of the true Leo. Keywords: leadership, creativity, confidence, honor, expression, warmth, stubbornness, pride, desire for attention, generosity, poise, self-belief. Strengths: powerful presence and leadership, creative expression and bold personality, warmth, loyalty, and responsibility, respect for honor and trust. Weaknesses: oversensitivity to criticism, tendency toward pride or arrogance, withdrawal when unrecognized, stubborn pride and emotional suppression. Leo says, I am the center. I shine. I want others to feel warm because of my light. A true leader doesn't just shine for themselves. They light the way for others. Virgo. The world in order. This is Virgo. As the peak of summer passes, nature begins to organize itself. Ripe fruits are harvested. The sunlight softens. Virgo is born in this season of quiet refinement. A sign that finds order in chaos, brings clarity to the messy, and tends to the world with thoughtful care. They say, I refine. I improve. Virgo is an earth sign. But unlike Taurus, whose earth is stable and grounded, Virgo's earth is cultivated and trimmed. They don't ignore even the smallest detail. They see reality clearly and work tirelessly to make life more efficient. Precision, practicality, and improvement are at their core. Virgo is a mutable sign. Always adjusting, always refining. They change not for the sake of chaos, but to make things better. They are flexible, but their compass always points toward greater accuracy and sharper detail. Virgo doesn't demand perfection from stubbornness, but from a deep desire to keep improving. Virgo is a feminine sign. Focused inward, sensitive to subtle changes, quiet, but deeply observant. They don't talk much, they show with action. They care less about emotional drama and more about practical support. For Virgo, love is expressed not through words, but through acts of care. Virgo is ruled by Mercury. Gemini is also ruled by Mercury, but the expression is different. Gemini gathers and spreads information. Virgo analyzes, organizes, and corrects it. Logic, accuracy, and discernment, these are Mercury's gifts to Virgo. That's why Virgo is both a critic and a builder, a thinker and a doer. Virgo is the sixth sign of the zodiac. If the earlier signs were about self-establishment, Virgo is where we begin to serve others and bring order to the world around us. Virgo senses what's off balance. They instinctively see what needs fixing, adjusting, or healing. They don't overlook the small things: typos in text, inconsistencies in speech, emotional dissonance in a room. Because of this, Virgo is often the one who offers real, tangible help. They care more about usefulness than sentiment. Even in love, they show their feelings by helping in, supporting, not by grand romantic displays. They can't ignore someone in need. They're always organizing something, improving something, bringing order to daily life. Schedules, routines, health, cleanliness, responsibilities, this is their world. And in times of crisis, they shine. They plan ahead, they prepare, and they actually solve the problem. But this attention to detail can sometimes turn into worry, perfectionism, or self-criticism. They are often their own harshest judge, struggling with the feeling that if it's not perfect, it's not enough. When this pressure turns outward, they may seem nitpicky, overly critical, or hard to please. But at their best, Virgo isn't here to be loud, they're here to be essential. The one who finishes what others abandon. The one who patches what's torn. The one who untangles the knots that no one else notices. That is Virgo. Keywords: analysis, order, practicality, precision, service, integrity, criticism, perfectionism, worry, efficiency, helpfulness, simplicity. Strengths: sharp analytical thinking, practical and solution-oriented, reliable, honest, and detail-focused, quiet dedication and sense of duty. Weaknesses: overthinking and anxiety, prioritizing logic over emotion, misunderstood as overly critical, harsh self-judgment and guilt. Virgo says, I improve, I organize. Little things matter because they complete the world. Some create the movement, and others must refine it. And the one who refines often works quietly. That is Virgo. Libra, the balancing point of the world, this is Libra. As autumn begins and day and night become equal, the world learns balance. Not too much, not too little. Relationships need harmony. Beauty is born through equilibrium. And it is in this season that Libra is born. They say, I balance, I harmonize. Libra is an air sign. But unlike Gemini, Libra doesn't scatter. It flows within interaction and relationship. They read the room, sense social distance, and care more about the quality of connection than raw emotion. Libra moves like wind, gently linking people to one another. Libra is a cardinal sign. Not direct like Aries, but proactive in initiating and guiding relationships. They set connections in motion. They create fair structures. They manage emotional distance with intention. Libra leads with diplomacy. Libra is a masculine sign. Though their style may seem passive, their social energy is active and outward. They speak clearly. They direct conversations. They guide situations through communication. Yet at their core, there's always an awareness of the other. Libra is ruled by Venus. But unlike Taurus' sensual Venus, Libra's Venus is social and relational. Beauty, harmony, elegance, and etiquette. Not just outer appearances, but also tone, manners, and atmosphere. Libra refines it all. Venus, through Libra, becomes style. Libra is the 7th sign of the zodiac. If the earlier signs were focused on the self, Libra is the first to fully encounter the other. They begin to balance me and you, thought and thought, desire and desire. They are intuitively aware of relationships. Am I taking up too much space? Is the other person comfortable? They adjust a look, a word, a step until everything feels right. Libra makes others feel at ease. They speak with softness, move with grace, and make situations flow. They choose negotiation over conflict, connection over separation. Though often misunderstood as conflict avoidant, Libra isn't running their tuning. They appear gentle, but carry strong values and sharp judgment underneath. Libra seeks beauty, not only in faces, but in conversations, spaces, and structures. They feel most at peace when things are in balance. That's why Libra thrives in art, design, fashion, law, and counseling. They value fairness as much as they do aesthetics. But this pursuit of harmony comes with risks. They may lose touch with their own needs. They may over-accommodate, delay decisions, or prioritize appearance over depth. When image matters too much, emotions get suppressed. And that's when Libra feels empty. Libra is the architect of graceful relationships. They sense imbalance. They mend awkward silences. They edit words and gestures until everything aligns. Wherever Libra is, there's an elegance that feels as effortless as air. Keywords: balance, harmony, relationships. Diplomacy, manners, cooperation. Refinement, fairness, communication. Indecision, people-pleasing, self-sacrifice. Strengths: excellent sense of social dynamics. Diplomatic, charming, and persuasive. Refined style and aesthetic intelligence. Natural mediator and collaborator. Weaknesses: avoids decisions or delays action. Neglects personal needs to keep peace. Fears conflict more than needed. Overmanages image, underexpresses emotion. Libra says, I tune, I balance. A peaceful world is possible. But someone has to read the room and adjust. That's me. Libra is not a spotlight, they are the mirror that lets everyone shine. Scorpio. Scorpio, the sign of depth. As autumn comes to a close, nature sheds the old and strips life down to its essence. Outward growth gives way to inner renewal. It is in this liminal space that Scorpio is born. A sign of death and rebirth, destruction and transformation. Scorpios do not linger on the surface. They dive into the depths to seek truth in the ocean of emotion. Scorpio says, I perceive. I transform. Scorpio belongs to the water element, but not like the gentle flow of Cancer or the adaptive current of Pisces. It is the still, heavy depth of the abyss. Beneath their calm exterior lies an intense undertow. Scorpios don't suppress emotions, they master them. Emotion is their power and also their danger. Scorpio is a fixed sign. Once their emotional course is set, it rarely changes. When they love, it's all-consuming. When betrayed, forgiveness does not come easily. Their loyalty is unmatched, their focus razor-sharp. But this intensity can also spill into obsession or extremes. Their emotions don't fade, they deepen. As a feminine sign, Scorpio turns inward and seeks emotional truth. But this isn't fragility, it's a fierce instinct for self-protection. They sense what's unseen and intuitively detect what's real and what's not. Though outwardly quiet, a volcano often simmers within. Scorpio is ruled by Mars, the planet of action and conflict. But here, Mars grants not just courage, but stamina, regeneration, and the boldness to explore forbidden realms. Whether in the worldly or spiritual domain, Scorpio has the power to probe to the very end. Scorpio is the 8th sign of the zodiac. After autumn matures, life begins to decay. But from decay comes rebirth. This is Scorpio's domain, the mysterious process of death and resurrection. It's through endings that they discover true beginnings. Scorpio cares little for surface appearances. They are drawn to what lies behind the mask. The unspoken feelings, hidden truths, and raw human nature. They are hard to deceive, and they see through facades with unnerving clarity. Their emotional intensity is profound. When they love, they give their soul. When betrayed, it wounds to the core. And yet they have the power to rise from pain, stronger than before. Scorpio is the keeper of secrets and the explorer of the psyche. They instinctively detect others' wounds and have the power to heal them. From medicine to psychology, from meditation to the deepest layers of science and spirituality. Their nature compels them to search the invisible. They appear stoic, yet burn with intensity. People may say they are scary or mysterious. But that's only because Scorpio cannot tolerate what isn't real. Shallow conversations, fake smiles, empty gestures, these make them deeply uncomfortable. Yet their depth can isolate them. They often carry pain alone and try to control what they cannot share. This distance can make them feel cut off from others. But it's within solitude that Scorpio finds their true power. The strength to be reborn through collapse. They are souls standing at the threshold between endings and beginnings. People may fear them, but Scorpio is the purifying fire that leaves only truth behind. Keywords: depth, perception, regeneration, obsession, control, secrecy, passion, focus, healing, destruction, truth, transformation. Strengths: deep insight and powerful focus, resilience, regeneration, ability to overcome crisis, unwavering loyalty and strong will, emotional healing and psychological understanding. Weaknesses: distrust, emotional possessiveness, vengefulness and extreme thinking, secretiveness and emotional suppression, tendency toward isolation and controlling behavior. Scorpio says, "I am reborn through death. My darkness is not fear, it is power." They are souls who rise even after losing everything, who walk through pain and return transformed by truth. Sagittarius, the arrow of truth. Sagittarius. At the end of autumn, the cold wind doesn't linger, it flies far. Before the world falls asleep, it makes one last expansion. Those born under Sagittarius gaze beyond the visible world. They are souls that seek meaning and truth beyond simple reality. And they say, "I expand. I explore." Sagittarius is a fire sign. But unlike Aries, who ignites instantly, or Leo, who burns at the center, Sagittarius is fire that reaches beyond the horizon. This fire burns with curiosity, ideals, and philosophical passion. It moves freely far and high. Sagittarius is the flame that travels the world. It is also a mutable sign. It dislikes staying in one place and thrives on movement. It grows through change, experience, and travel. Its thoughts are always shifting, seeking broader perspectives. Sagittarius is a masculine sign. It expresses thoughts outward and affirms its beliefs through action. Questions aren't just in the mind, they become footsteps and choices. Talkative and passionate, Sagittarians must experience things for themselves. Its ruling planet is Jupiter, symbol of growth, wisdom, faith, and optimism. Jupiter gives Sagittarius a vision of something greater. This is why Sagittarius is drawn to philosophy, religion, education, travel, and spiritual freedom. It walks the seeker's path, searching for truth it can believe in. At the center of that path is Jupiter. Sagittarius is the 9th sign of the zodiac. After the soul undergoes symbolic death in Scorpio, it sets out to find the meaning of life. So Sagittarius is closely tied to truth, belief, philosophy, religion, and higher learning. It values direct experience over secondhand knowledge. Books are fine, but it would rather throw on a backpack and go. New cultures, languages, worldviews, every unfamiliar thing becomes its teacher. Sagittarius is born with a longing for a bigger world. It suffocates in confined spaces, rigid systems, and controlling relationships. Only in freedom does it truly shine. It's full of stories, joy, and a drive to teach and spread what it knows. It feels most alive when it can say, "This is what life really means." That's why many become teachers, spiritual leaders, philosophers, even YouTubers, playing the role of messengers. But its love of freedom often clashes with responsibility and routine. It starts many things but doesn't always finish. It exaggerates, speaks impulsively, and may act without thinking. When firmly convinced, it might overlook the other person's perspective. Even so, Sagittarius always looks upward toward ideals and expansion. Wherever they are, whatever they do, they ask, "Does this really matter?" That question is what truly leads Sagittarius to growth and truth. Keywords: exploration, freedom, ideals, philosophy, truth, wisdom, optimism, humor, travel, exaggeration, irresponsibility, impulsiveness. Strengths: philosophical thinking and broad perspective, optimistic, joyful personality, adventurous spirit and passion for freedom. strong in teaching, spiritual growth, and sharing knowledge. Weaknesses: impulsive and avoids responsibility, tendency to exaggerate or boast, escapism and repeated restless movement, insensitive to others' emotions, overly self-centered beliefs. Sagittarius says, I long for a bigger world. Life is a journey and I seek its meaning. Their words may seem light, but their beliefs run deep. The arrow they shoot always points toward truth. Capricorn, the climb toward the peak. Capricorn. When winter begins, the world sinks into silence. The wind grows cold, the earth hardens, and life takes root deep below the surface. Those born under Capricorn are the ones who quietly, but persistently climb toward the top. Silent, yet strong. Slow, but relentless. Capricorn says, I rise. I achieve. Capricorn is an earth sign. But unlike Taurus's need for stability or Virgo's need for order, Capricorn is the earth that builds systems and structures. They plan life carefully, set boundaries, and take responsibility seriously. They view reality as weighty, but they also know how to navigate it with skill and maturity. Capricorn is a cardinal sign, but their action is quiet and slow. Rather than rushing forward, they push steadily, brick by brick. They set realistic goals and move toward them with patience. On the outside, they seem composed, but inside, they are always in motion. Capricorn is a feminine sign, not outwardly expressive but inwardly full of resolve. They choose action over words, responsibility over emotions. They prefer to show with results, not talk. Capricorn is ruled by Saturn, the planet of restriction, time, responsibility, and structure. Saturn teaches through hardship and patience. Capricorn endures these tests, and proves their worth through outcomes, not intentions. And so, they become stronger, more resilient, unshakable. Capricorn is the 10th sign of the zodiac. If Sagittarius looks up to ideals, Capricorn builds the path to manifest those ideals. To realize dreams, structure is needed. Responsibility must come before passion. Capricorn embodies this grounded realism. They are goal-oriented. If they want something, they prepare in silence and pursue it without drama. They understand reality better than anyone, and know exactly what they can achieve. But still, they aim for more. Their desire for success is strong, not just for glory, but for stability, purpose, and a sense of place. They may seem emotionally reserved, but their loyalty runs deep. They quietly support their families, co-workers, or juniors. Even if they seem detached, they carry a heavy sense of duty inside. That's why they earn long-term trust and become pillars in their communities. Yet their inner strictness can become a burden. They may be harsh on themselves, unable to rest, and suppress their emotions. This can lead to depression, loneliness, or chronic anxiety. Sometimes, their realism can create emotional walls with others, because they value efficiency and results. They may appear indifferent to feelings or relationships. Keywords: discipline, responsibility, endurance, structure, realism, patience, suppression, duty, loneliness, legacy, achievement, maturity. Strengths: long-term vision and steady ambition. Realistic, structured, responsible. Deep loyalty and silent support. Strong work ethic and perseverance. Weaknesses: emotionally distant, self-critical and burdened, rigid under pressure, may neglect emotional needs. Capricorn says, I rise through discipline. I build my summit stone by stone. Let my actions speak. Still, Capricorn is the one who reaches the top. The slowest, the steadiest, the most enduring. They are the ones who build their own castle at the summit, in silence. Aquarius, the one who lives in the future. Aquarius. In the heart of winter, nature appears. Still, but change is already stirring beneath the surface. Though unseen, new life is preparing to emerge with the next season. Those born under Aquarius live beyond the present. They imagine change, break old molds, and question the fixed order. They say, I think differently. I forge new paths. Aquarius is an air sign. But unlike Gemini's curiosity or Libra's harmony, Aquarius seeks intellectual independence and social ideals. This air is not light and breezy, it is vast and expansive. Aquarius observes the world from a distance, always thinking of better systems. Logic, reason, and shifts in perspective define their mind. Aquarius is a fixed sign. Their thoughts are independent, and once their beliefs are formed, they rarely change. They may appear flexible, but their core is firm. This fixed air marks the mind of a true thinker. Aquarius is a masculine sign. They boldly express ideas and bring new concepts into the world. Rather than intimacy, they focus on their role within the collective. Thought comes before emotion. Values come before relationships. Aquarius is ruled by Saturn. But unlike Capricorn's Saturn, which builds practical systems, Aquarius' Saturn dreams of futuristic structures and ideal order. They read the flow of time and design new frameworks beyond the outdated ones. That makes Aquarius the innovator within reality. Aquarius is the 11th sign of the zodiac. If Capricorn climbed the mountain of social structures and followed the rules, Aquarius turns back and asks, but do we really have to? They analyze the system and try to make it better. At heart, Aquarius is an idealist and a visionary. They imagine a more equal society, freer relationships, and liberated individuals. Their vision doesn't stay in their heads, it becomes action. Still, they prefer reason over emotion, and distance over attachment. They analyze with cool logic rather than emotional sway. That's why others may see them as cold or hard to understand. But this isn't heartlessness, it's objectivity. Aquarius redefines the relationship between the individual and the collective. They question traditional families, corporations, and social roles. They're drawn to alternative communities, new ways of working, and experimental lifestyles. They are observers, analysts, and inventors. Whether in science, technology, humanities, or activism, they lead us toward the future. But their strong independence can make emotional communication difficult. They want freedom, solitude, and autonomy. This can sometimes lead to isolation or shallow relationships. Even so, Aquarius possesses a forward-looking consciousness. They are the ones who dare to deconstruct outdated systems and rebuild them anew, for a better society and more open human connections. That is Aquarius. Keywords: independence, innovation, intellect. Future, collective, ideals. Stubbornness, distance, detachment. Experimentation, invention, redefining relationships. Strengths: futuristic thinking and originality, sharp analysis and clear judgment. Strong independence and idealistic vision. Sensitivity to social progress and change. Weaknesses: emotional detachment, stubbornness and lack of flexibility. Distance in personal relationships, excessive reliance on logic. Aquarius says, I see with new eyes. I build in new ways. Don't just stay in the present, imagine the world to come. Their gaze is fixed beyond now. And that vision becomes the seed of change. Pisces, the soul that embraces all and flows. Pisces. At the end of winter, the world seems to pause. The snow melts. The earth takes a breath, quietly preparing for new life. Pisces, born in this stillness, symbolizes both the end and the beginning. Consciousness without borders. They feel everything. They absorb. They dissolve. And they say, I feel. I flow. Pisces is a water sign. If Cancer protects and Scorpio controls, Pisces simply spreads. It is the sea of emotions, limitless, boundless. They feel others' pain as their own. They empathize with what they've never even experienced. All emotions pour in. All beings connect. Pisces is a mutable sign. It changes shape. It adapts. Rather than holding fixed ideas, Pisces flows with sensations. But this flexibility can blur boundaries, leading to confusion. Pisces is a feminine sign. It favors the inner world over the outer. Emotion over logic. Intuition over reason. They read the hearts of others with quiet sensitivity. But this sensitivity makes them easily wounded. Pisces is traditionally ruled by Jupiter. If Jupiter in Sagittarius seeks truth through exploration, Jupiter in Pisces seeks spiritual expansion, unconditional love. They don't chase the world's definitions. They seek soul-level unity. Pisces is the 12th and final sign of the zodiac. It dissolves what came before. It integrates all. It longs to become one with the world, shedding the boundaries of the self. Pisces dreams of what lies beyond reality. They understand through feelings, not words. Even when others say nothing, Pisces knows what's inside. A look, a breath, a subtle energy, nothing escapes their awareness. This becomes art. It becomes healing. It becomes quiet spirituality. Pisces is the sign of empathy and devotion. They cannot ignore pain. They give themselves. The more sorrow they witness, the deeper they become. But in feeling everything, they sometimes lose themselves. Their weak boundaries make them absorbent. They can be overwhelmed or manipulated by stronger wills. When it gets too much, they may escape into fantasy, faith, art, or intoxication. Yet they are healers of the soul. They stay beside you without a word. They comfort by simply being there. They may seem fragile in the real world, but inside, they carry unshakable spiritual strength. They trust what's unseen more than what is. Love, intuition, dreams, prayer. These are the true languages of Pisces. Pisces is the flow that begins again at the end. The one who imagines rebirth beyond death. The one who believes in connection beyond separation. That is Pisces. Keywords: emotion, intuition, compassion, imagination, spirituality, empathy, confusion, escape, self-loss, healing, devotion, sacrifice. Strengths: deep empathy and emotional intuition, creative imagination and artistic gifts, devotion and compassion for others, spiritual wisdom and unifying insight. Weaknesses: weak boundaries and escapist tendencies, emotional confusion and self-erasure, hypersensitivity and emotional overwhelm, dependency on others and lack of grounding. Pisces says, I feel everything. I become one with all. I am myself. I am you. I am the entire world. They dissolve all separation, and from the borderless place, they speak the truth of soul and love. That was our overview of Rasi. Your likes and subscriptions greatly support the creation of these videos. Thank you for watching.